Have you ever stared through a peephole late at night and wished you had? Tonight, I'm bringing you 3 real-life stories that will keep you awake long after this video ends. From a masked man with a gun outside an apartment door, to a predator stalking children in a park, and finally, a chilling encounter on India's most haunted beach, you'll soon see why some memories never leave us. Welcome back to Dark True Stories, your home for real horror, chilling encounters, and true unsettling stories from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a night of terror. Trust me, you're going to need the lights on for this one. Story 1: The Man at the Door. I was a young teenage girl living in a small apartment on the 3rd floor. Nights were usually quiet. I hardly ever got visitors except for my aunties and cousins. One evening, I was lying in bed watching YouTube when my stepdad came home from work. I greeted him briefly and went back into the room I shared with my little brothers. We didn't have much privacy, but it was normal for us. Suddenly, my brother said he heard knocking at the door. It was dark outside, and at first I didn't believe him. But then I heard it too. The knock was slow, deliberate. I told my brother to stay put. As the oldest, it was my job to protect them. A chair sat by the door, and normally I'd move it to peek through the peephole. But something told me not to make any noise. Instead, I climbed quietly onto that chair, balancing myself to look through the tiny glass lens. And that's when my blood ran cold. Staring back at me from the other side was a man in a blue raincoat, his head tilted slightly, his face hidden behind a mask. But what made my knees buckle was the gun he held, pressed directly against the peephole, almost daring me to look. I stumbled off the chair in silence, slipped out of my noisy slides, and warned my brothers with a hand gesture shaped like a gun. Their eyes widened. I cut the lights and rushed into my stepdad's room, my heart hammering in my chest. But the knocking continued, slow, relentless. At the worst possible moment, the electricity went out. No lights, no internet, just darkness and the sound of fists at the door. For over an hour, we stayed hidden, my stepdad holding his phone's flashlight since even his ceiling light was dead. Eventually, the noise stopped. We listened closely and soon heard children playing downstairs, neighbors returning home. He was gone. We bolted to my aunt's house not long after. I never saw that man again, but to this day, I wonder, what if my brother had opened the door before I got there? Story 2: The Park Predator. Fast forward to when I was 7 years old. It was 2003, and I often played at a local park with my friends. For nearly 2 years, everything had been safe, normal, but then came the man. For 5 straight months, a short, overweight, older man sat on the same bench every day, watching us play. Always smiling, always grinning. His presence made our skin crawl, but we were kids. We tried to ignore it. Until one afternoon, when he finally stood up. He approached us, speaking in a friendly tone, and asked if we wanted to come to his house. He said he had video games and a new dog we could play with, and being as young and naive as we were, we agreed. It started with laughter and curiosity, but turned into something very different. His house, he claimed, was a 20-minute walk away, so the 4 of us followed him down the sidewalk. 10 minutes in, a police car drove past. The passenger officer slowed down, watching us carefully. The man urged us to quicken our pace, promising we'd have more time to play, but something didn't feel right anymore. Suddenly, the siren blared. The car whipped around. A voice shouted, "Freeze, hands on your head." The man bolted. but he wasn't built for running. Within seconds, one of the officers tackled him into the dirt and slapped cuffs on his wrists. We kids just stood there, scared, confused, and now shaking violently. Another cop approached us, calm and reassuring. He asked what had happened. We explained everything and were eventually driven back home, safe but shaken. The police later told our parents the truth. This man was a known sexual predator, a repeat offender who called his crimes hunting. We had no idea how close we had come to becoming his next victims. By pure chance, a patrol car had passed us on that day, at that time. If it hadn't, I don't think I'd be here to tell this story. Story 3. The Ghosts of Duma Beach. Years later, in my 20s, I found myself in Gujarat, India, standing on the dark sands of Duma's beach. Famous for its paranormal reputation, the beach is said to be haunted by the spirits of the dead. It was once a Hindu burial ground, after all. I never really believed in those superstitions. That was, until one unforgettable night. It was late, nearly midnight, when some friends and I went walking along the shore. The sound of waves echoed strangely in the fog, and an icy wind whipped across the sand, sharper than any breeze we'd ever felt. At first, we laughed it off. Maybe it's a ghost, one of my friends smirked. But the laughter froze when whispers began behind us. Words faint but unmistakable, though nobody was there. Then the mist grew heavier. My flashlight flickered, sputtered, and when I looked down, I saw fresh footprints forming in the sand, but no one was walking them. Step by step, they moved toward us. One of my friends whispered in terror, "We need to leave." But I stood rooted, and then I saw it. A shadow figure just for a second emerging from the fog. Its eyes, hollow and endless, locked directly onto mine. I expected rage, anger, something inhuman, but what I saw instead was sorrow, a warning. That broke me from my trance. We ran, and as we did, the whispers grew into a chorus behind us. The footsteps followed, closing in. Only when the glow of streetlights finally hit our faces did it stop. The fog thinned. The whispers vanished. The beach lay quiet again, as though nothing had happened. But deep down, I knew. Something was there and it had seen us. I've never set foot on Duma Beach again. 3 stories, 3 brushes with terror, whether human or something far beyond it. But each one leaves the same question hanging in the air. What would have happened if things had gone differently? If you enjoyed tonight's stories, don't forget to like, subscribe to Dark True Stories, and share this video with a friend who loves a good scare. Until next time, keep your doors locked, watch the shadows closely, and never ignore a whisper on the wind.